Hey, Morgan. Well, a meeting between President Biden and the four top leaders of Congress that was scheduled to take place tomorrow morning at the White House has been postponed, according to a White House official. I'm told the meeting is now set to take place sometime early next week before President Biden is set to travel to Asia for several days, and that this meeting postponement, according to a source familiar with the matter, should be taken at least as a positive development, that staff in their closed-door meetings have been making progress behind the scenes, and according to this source, it just wasn't the right time to bring the principals back in the room. Now, of course, this is news that is coming out after market close. Of course, any news related to the debt ceiling is material to the markets, to the economy. So, of course, we're going to get as much information as we can about what is happening in those staff meetings where both the Biden administration representatives and the congressional representatives are talking specifically about possible spending cuts that could be introduced, a spending cap deal for the next couple of years, and possible introduction of permitting reform, which both parties have been in favor of, although the different types of permitting reform that they have favored look a little bit differently. So clearly pencils are still at work. They are still talking through these negotiations. And so that meeting at the White House with the top leaders and the president won't happen tomorrow, Morgan, but it is expected to happen early next week. Back to you.
It sounds like it's a very promising development, and I realize that there is a very wide divide by which lawmakers and the president and everybody involved in this process have to cross to be able to get to a deal. But is there a growing expectation or a growing hope, perhaps, that we could actually see this happen before the end of the month?
Well, that is, of course, the hope, Morgan, I think from all sides involved, that do not want to see anything close to a default on the nation's debt. Our producer, Karen James Sloan, was on Capitol Hill earlier today, saw Louisa Terrell, the chief of legislative affairs here at the White House, meeting with many of those chiefs of staff from the various congressional offices in a meeting that was over 2 hours long. So clearly there is a lot of meat to discuss in this agreement where they're trying to figure out where that middle ground is, and it appears that there is quite a bit of it, or at least they're trying to find where it is, Morgan.
Yeah. Going to be a key one to watch. And of course, when you start talking about permitting reform, what that means for energy and utility companies, and of course, when you talk about spending cuts, what that's going to mean for things like defense potentially, too.